Hey, lovely people. So, can you believe it's a full moon again? And this is the second one in August. Yeah, so I'm here for your full moon forecast. Um, a lot is shifting at the moment. If you notice, I've got a different background here because I've actually my office upstairs, I've made my desk into my painting area because I keep saying I want to paint and make space to be creative, and I'm not doing it. So I was like, I need a space to just stay that I can come to all the time. So I'm now downstairs in the kind of open office. So that's my different background at the moment. Um, so right, this full moon, we're in Pisces, which is happening on the 31st of August at 1:35 a.m. at 7 degrees and 24 seconds. So you want to look at where Pisces is in your natal chart, which life area this full moon is activating for you. Then it will give you clues to what is being illuminated for you. So with Pisces, Pisces is the archetype of compassion, of, honoring our sensitivity. And at this full moon is actually a really beautiful time to make space for our healing. I know in the last few days, I've had so many realizations about like patterns and loops I've got stuck in that are surfacing again. And I've dug underneath that and realized what the root of that is. And obviously, we don't always have to know where something's coming from, but just when we notice that pattern, that is the biggest part of healing. If you notice that that pattern is happening again, that's an opportunity to release that pattern and to change the way you think and the way you act, right, in that situation. So be really aware of what patterns or kind of what loops you're stuck in that are surfacing at this full moon. Remember, full moons bring everything to the surface. So with the full moon, we're obviously on that Pisces Virgo axis. So Pisces is the water, about honoring our sensitivity, going with our emotions. And Virgo is the other side on the immutable earth, which is about being of service. Virgo is really good at the details, creating structures and systems. Somebody with a strong Virgo will be really good at the detail and creating systems. That is definitely not my forte. And helping us have healthy habits, because that is an important part of our well-being, right? As artists and creatives, we need those healthy habits in place. So for me, it was like creating that space to paint. I'm starting painting on a regular basis. So just notice, because we're on that axis, what things have you been saying you want to do, but maybe you're not making them happen? What is one small step you can take towards, making a space for yourself, if it's a painting space or if it's a writing space, whatever it is, make that commitment to yourself at this full moon to make that space or that time. So it's sort of like this full moon is asking us, what are like the things that we planted at the new moon 2 weeks ago, what is coming to fruition as well? What is coming to the surface? So you may see, I always talk about, you may see things coming into fruition that you planted at the new moon. So, what desires have you been cultivating, or goals that you've set in motion at the new moon? How are they seeding? Like for me, it was small, but for weeks I've been saying about painting, and somehow something clicked in me and I made the space. And now, that's kind of it coming into fruition for me as an example. So we've got to be mindful of that, this balance between wanting to get into the systems and create structure, but also that Pisces energy is about going with the flow and really trusting our gut, trusting our emotions. And, that can take practice, right? It can. But we've got Saturn conjunct the full moon. So Saturn is helping us create those boundaries and structures needed to support our healing, support our creative expression. Because, by the way, Pisces is a very creative sign and is very connected to the divine. So being connected to that higher energy or force, whatever you call it, I call it universe. So being aware of that, do you make space to connect with the universe, with the divine? How can you create more space to connect with the divine? And with Saturn, it's really helping us with boundaries and structure. So I know as artists, we can overcommit. I know that one well, I'm laughing. Maybe we say we start like 4 projects and get really overwhelmed. Okay, so which project or idea can you say no to at the moment if you're getting overwhelmed? What is it you can say no to? Doesn't mean you can't bring that into the world, but it's just not right now. Yeah, what is a priority and what isn't? And with Saturn, it can be that, I know it well, I've got a Saturn conjunction in my chart. But Saturn can be that critical voice that puts really high expectations on us. So where are you putting high expectations on yourself? And how can you bring a bit more compassion when you notice you're putting that pressure on yourself? I was putting so much pressure on myself about painting. That's why I didn't do it, because I was this inner perfectionist was like, you have to create a masterpiece. And no wonder I was avoiding my art, right? But actually, I'm giving myself permission to create messy art, to create art that is crap, that I don't like, because that's part of the process too. So giving yourself permission to get it wrong, right? And to learn from those mistakes. I don't really think we can make mistakes. I just think it's about trial and error. And we learn from the things that don't work that lead us to the things that we do really love, right? So where is that critical voice in your life? Maybe it's in an aspect, an area of your life. And you can think of it as, sometimes might have strict parents, or we've had a strict teacher that said something to us and we've internalized that. And actually, that critical voice isn't even ours. So notice, is it your critical voice, or is it coming from somewhere else? Or just acknowledge it's not yours and that you can release it. So, this whole full moon, there's a lot of mutable energy, which is about change and being adaptable. So you may feel like you need to change a lot of things, particularly in that area where Pisces and Virgo are in your chart. I mean, again, for me, I've had this realization and this deep desire that I crave. My messaging has been around helping spiritual, holistic women in business, but actually my real passion lies with helping other artists. And I've put that out in the world. So I'm here to help the artists. And that feels really good to voice that. That's my heart speaking. So this kind of Pisces full moon puts us in touch with that deeper voice, that soul voice that just knows what is right for you. What feels good is always a sign that you're moving in the right direction. And I think it was Gabby Bernstein, that you might have read some of her books, she's saying, I think it was from her, is always follow that voice of love. The voice of love is the right direction for you. As soon as there's a voice of fear, we're moving in the wrong direction. And I know it's so easy to get stuck in that because it feels safe for us. But moving with the voice of love and feeling love, you're going the right direction. And then we've got the North Node square Pluto, which, it's almost like we want to really be in our soul purpose. We want to take the reins and lead in that area. But there's something about needing to let go of all those false identities that we've held. Those personas we create to kind of, sometimes we create a wall around ourselves because it feels safe. I used to bury my emotions under the carpet, for example. because I felt like if I was really vulnerable on my kind of emotional self, I might be seen as too sensitive because I had that kind of projected onto me a lot when I was growing up, right? So there's so many false identities and things we can hide behind. So it's like we're needing to unravel those pretenses that we're holding on to. How can you let some of them go? Or what are they? And giving yourself permission to release them. And I know that can be hard because our subconscious wants to hold on to things because it's in our comfort zone. But releasing that maybe through energy work or getting somebody to support you through that process. And if anyone wants to explore what that is, you're welcome to book a reading with me to know more about that. But that Pluto aspect is about our shadow side. So these pretenses are our shadows because they're parts of us we're not wanting to own, where we carry shame and we carry grief. So, there may be grief and things we need to shed to allow us to fully step into that soul path and our soul purpose. So just notice what that is for you. And Uranus is also Uranus is also in a trine with Pluto. And from speaking to lots of people recently, there has been a bit of an air of chaos around where things didn't quite go to plan. And that's Uranus at work because Uranus likes to shake things up, particularly with it in Taurus at the minute. It likes to shake up our routine, shake up our kind of foundations so that we can have those like realizations and that clarity about what's not working. Yeah. So although being shooken up can feel like, oh my God, what's going on? Sometimes we need that to fully step in a different direction, to know it's not our path. Yeah. So just notice that that's okay. That's happening. And that Uranus trine the Pluto is almost like shaking us up so we can see our shadows more clearly, so we can see where those unconscious parts of us lead and take over, right? Because I really believe if you get comfortable, which I know it's not comfortable, but if you look at your shadows and embrace them, they're then not unconscious, they become a part of you, right? And it doesn't mean you have to air your shadows to everyone. It just means that they stop controlling you unconsciously, right? You become more whole and more aware of all these different aspects of you. So doing that shadow work is super, super key right now. Yeah. So then we've also got Mercury gone retrograde. So people freak out. It's not a time to freak out. It's just a time to like reassess how we're communicating and how we're thinking, our thinking and our behavior, because Mercury is the mind. So again, you want to look at wherever Mercury is in your chart for more clarity. But this is a time to maybe we want to revisit our daily habits and routines to just look at where are we spending our time, particularly with this full moon. Virgo is very methodical and very systematic. So, are you spending loads of hours on social media, but you'd rather be writing or painting, for example? Yeah. So how can you make those things that bring you joy a priority? And actually that will allow that healing to take place, which this full moon is definitely here to support us with. So I hope that is helpful. I'd love to hear what resonates with you. And if you know, let me know which life area the full moon is happening for you. And I will leave all my links below. And I'm sending you lots of full moon blessings. Bye for now.